Live from New York. It's the show that just did some trivia, and I'll tell you what.
You guys did well on that one. Not quite as well.
Brew crushed it.
Well, Brian Sipe.
Shout out to Brian Sipe.
He doesn't get the love he deserves.
He does on
He's
this show.
an MVP.
On this show, he does.
He's like the opposite of Jaquaski Tart on this show.
No,
All we do
I'm
is
done.
You know what?
I'm
It's
done
actually
ripping Jaquaski.
similar because they are only brought up in the only time Brian Sipe and poor Rich Gannon make the show is when Brew is trying to make the point. You don't have to
That
be great
Darnold
to
could
win
be an
MVP.
MVP.
Exactly.
You know who gets
You know-
the most love on this show? It's a show trivia of the trivia. What quarterback gets more shout-outs by 100-fold on this show than any other show in history?
Tell us.
Otto Graham.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about OG like
Otto
you
was-
wouldn't believe.
You know
Otto
who
was the man.
occasionally
Oh,
gets
Otto
dipped
was
in
the
more on this show than others? Sid Luckman as well.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever Danny's like best Bears quarterback ever,
Oh.
Can't
the
forget
Luckman family's like, you
Can't
got to be
forget
kidding me.
Luckman.
We start with the greatest coach of all time. He will not be in the Hall of Fame, at least not right now. He needed 40 of 50 votes and came up short. He's first in wins, first in appearances, first in playoff wins. And by the way, I count his Giants rings. So he's got 8 total Super Bowl rings wherever he keeps them. Sometimes he lets Jordan wear one, so maybe he has 7. Quick update because I confused Brew. He lets his girlfriend, partner, Jordan wear his ring, not Michael Jordan.
I'm supposed to
But I'm
I
just
knew
saying,
her first name was Jordan.
Yes.
I
don't
knew that's
follow
where,
them.
when
But
you,
if Michael
I don't
Jordan
follow
asked, like,
them.
hey, want to trade rings like
That's
baseball
what I
cards?
thought you meant. Like
you
at
would be
one of the
okay
North
with.
Carolina games, Jordan was wearing a Patriots ring. I mean,
That would be
and
sick.
Bill was wearing a Bulls ring. Like,
All right, your reaction to this news.
all right. Glass 1/10 full.
Okay.
Really, really awful unintentional mistake.
Yes.
And I do not think this is what happened. However, I do not think it is impossible that when that committee is voting and they know only 3 guys can get in, that there were at least 11 people that said, you know what, I really want to make sure this person gets in. Belichick's not going to need my vote.
Yep.
And so I'm going to use my vote for these 3 guys, leave Belichick out, and then they count the votes. They're like, oh, man. I think that is, in a very minute way, on the board. I don't think it can be dismissed. If that is not what happened, and I don't think that's what happened, then I must say, while I believe Bill Belichick is the greatest coach ever, I believe that Bill Belichick, not Tom Brady, was the driving force of the first dynasty the Patriots had, those first 3 championships, and I think he's the greatest defensive mind of all time. If he is being made to wait a year because of multiple confirmed, penalized cheating scandals, I don't find it to be the crime against football that seemingly everyone else does. If he were to be kept out entirely, that would be outrageous. But a slap on the wrist from the committee for what was, according to the NFL, more than a half-decade-long Spygate fiasco that people forget popped its head back up a decade later when they were weirdly recording the Bengals sideline. I mean, like, so I'm just telling.
Bengals were like a 3-win team or something.
I understand, but that did happen. I mean, you can say all that.
I think we lost. I think the team got fined or something.
Exactly, and so if the voters decided this is going to be your penance, or at least 11 of them did, I don't find that to be wholly and entirely outrageous the way seemingly almost everyone else associated with this story has said they find it to be outrageous.
well, yeah, I've listened to a lot of the pundits talk about it, and they're giving reasons, possible reasons, and even you to some degree, Nick. Some people are saying, he wasn't nice to the media.
Yeah.
Okay. Others are saying he's still coaching now, at North Carolina, so maybe they want to wait till he's fully done coaching. Others are saying Kenny Anderson and L.C. Greenwood got to get in, so, Bill can wait and all that. It's all hogwash.
Okay.
There is only one explanation for Bill Belichick not getting in on the first ballot, and that is cheating. That's it. If you didn't vote for Bill Belichick for any other reason, you shouldn't be a voter. In fact, I was talking with Greg earlier about it, Greg Jennings. There are some people we could argue shouldn't even be on the ballot. Bill Belichick comes up, he's just in. He's just in. It's not even a vote.
Shouldn't be on the ballot because
Tom Brady, there's no vote. He's in. Like, there are some people that you could do that. Belichick's in that class. So if you actually voted against him because of some reason other than cheating, you should not vote. You do not deserve a vote. This is too important. I'm with you, Nick. If it is and I'm convinced it's the cheating, then I'm totally fine with it. When you cheat, you got nothing to say. Yeah, you got a little slap on the wrist with the $500,000 fine, I think it was. You lost the draft pick. But you were cheating for 7 years. From the moment he got to the Patriots in 2000, they said he was cheating. All right? And then they won those Super Bowls. Those first 3 Super Bowls, which were between 2000 and 2007, they won them by 3 points each. In world-class sports, the difference between a gold medal and not medaling at all is this. If that cheating gives you this much advantage, you got an advantage. He's lucky that this is it. Nobody's taking his 6 Super Bowls or his first 3 from him.
No, we should, though. We should have it.
No, it's too late now.
Excuse me. We need the rings back, take down the banners.
Look,
everybody.
It's too late. Everybody. What do you mean everybody?
Well, it's going to stain Belichick. You're going to smear the entire Patriots organization.
That
was in this run.
Hold on, who's in charge?
Well, Belichick was the architect of it. It started when he got there.
Well, if you're saying if Tom Brady just won these Super Bowls by this month,
Brady may have been not even knowing about it. Brady's just out there playing.
But if they're the beneficiaries,
the Rams should win. Well, look, that's a whole different argument. But my point is that he cheated, so that's the only reason they could not put him in the Hall of Fame. And remember, we don't even know how big this is. The league destroyed the videotapes, 8 of them. The league destroyed the notes that the Patriots had on the cheating, all of it, during the investigation. They didn't want us to see what else is out there. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying he should never get in, but I'm fine with a slap on the wrist, a reminder, hey, we know you didn't do it all above board, so you're going to wait a year or 2.
I think it's epically lame. And I have a funny take and I have a serious take. I'll give the funny one first.
Sure.
The funny take is, if you want to keep him out forever, that it's going to be like PEDs, you cheated, you cannot go into the Hall of Fame, I almost respect that more than being put in timeout like you're in 3rd grade. Bill Belichick, sit on the curb, write me a letter, go on the chalkboard, I will not tape games anymore. I promise when I'm playing, Rutgers, I won't tape the sidelines, and then I'll read your essay and your apology, and I'll let you into the Hall of Fame. That's the funny take. The serious take.
I mean,
I thought it was.
That's what they're doing.
You know what? I'll be honest with you.
It's fine. That's what
the serious take started to sneak in there.
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Here's the serious take. And I might ruin the show. But it might be good.
So I hope you don't ruin it.
We're going to gamble. It might be good, might ruin the show. We got our 401k statements. I don't know if you guys contribute to the 401k. And that's for the future, right? And I looked at it. I never look at my 401k. But I took a screenshot of it and sent it to my wife. I'm like, hey, this is for our future, and we never talk about it. But if I get hit by a snowplow, don't forget that we've got this money in the Fox 401k.
Yeah.
The reason I'm saying this is playing willy-nilly and trying to give people a slap on the wrist for a lifetime of work because you think you're going to vote him in next year or that they're going to be there to vote him in next year, I think is ignoring mortality and the fact that we're all fragile here. So I understand your guys' take, but man, I think that it's playing loose and fast with just like tomorrow's guaranteed. Give him a slap on the wrist for taping it tomorrow, and he'll get in next year. Well, what if he doesn't?
No, but hold on. Can I?
And that really gets, and I know it's like kind of like a odd take, but it really gets me mad because I feel like it's an insult to a guy's entire life.
So, a couple things, and I'll meet you where you're at in a positive way. So, of all the things you do to ruin the show, talk about you're so
The
wealthy, you don't
401k.
check your 401k. It's not going to ruin
You're
the
not
show.
supposed to check it.
So,
You're not be like, well,
Don't ever tell Nick and I we can't talk about the 70s.
So
You're not supposed to check your 401k.
No, I got it, but that's not. So it's no problem.
You should be
so
contributing.
I first listen to in 2006, Major League Baseball was like, we're going to try to right the wrong of basically ignoring the Negro Leagues. Right. And we are going to let in a ton of Negro Leaguers and have a committee. And the person that was in large part responsible for that effort, that everyone thought was a lock, was my dear friend, even though he was 70 years older than me, growing up, the great Buck O'Neil.
This isn't a great story. I love that you were friends with Buck O'Neil.
And somehow they picked 17 people to get in. Buck was not one of them, and he died a few months later.
See, that's...
And he got in 2004, posthumously. Mm-hmm. So I totally understand what you're saying if the people who didn't vote for him were simply saying that we are putting you in timeout. Where I disagree with you is, I think the people who didn't vote for him, if Brew and I are right, and it was about the cheating, they were saying, you are not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And that is something that does matter. While it might not show up on your plaque, like, look, after T.O. was made to wait and Randy got in first ballot, read what people talked about Randy saying I'm first ballot. So I am drawing a distinction that I think is relevant. And again, if your argument is this is nonsense, and I think your real belief, I don't want to put words in your mouth, is that Brew and I are using the word cheating too liberally, because I don't think you view it as cheating the way Brew and I might.
I think it's toeing the line.
That's toeing the line, and so that's right. And we don't. And I don't think we have to relitigate what Spygate was. But I think the voters were saying you don't deserve the most sterling designation. And what I'm saying is, if I were in the room, I would have voted for him because I am not as bothered by it as some. But it is not incomprehensible to me.
Right.
And so, if there are certain things where, when a guy retires, when Peyton Manning comes up, it will be incomprehensible to me. When LeBron comes up, when Jordan came up, incomprehensible to me. This one, I do understand why 22% of the room might have said no. I get it. Even if I wouldn't have done it, I get it.
It doesn't bother me as much as some other people either. I wasn't even thinking about it. When I first heard the news after our show yesterday, I was like, what? That's ridiculous. He's not first ballot. But to your point, if they did want to punish him for a year or whatever, I'm fine with it.
I mean,
I think he's
is just like gets my blood.
Well, when you do something wrong, you get punished.
He was.
That's our. That wasn't.
They were punished. The franchise was.
That
punished.
was a slap on the wrist, just like
now
I
you got 11 guys going rogue. Like, you know what?
Or the Astros.
I'm
gonna get my licks in too. 11 people.
I'm fine with it because
20 years later, let me get my shot.
But hold
on. You're fortunate. Nobody's taking those Super Bowls, like I said. And in baseball, you might not be in the Hall of Fame.
They should be.
No, but that's been adjudicated.
I agree.
The NFL didn't vacate anything, whatever. But this is a separate body. The Hall of Fame did not get to rule on that. That's what I'm saying. The NFL made its ruling. You don't lose any wins. You don't lose any records. You don't lose any banners.
Right.
It's not the Wikipedia page for college, John Calipari at UConn, where the NCAA vacated something. That was the NFL's ruling. Mm-hmm. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is a different body that does not get to make any ruling on anyone until they come up on their ballot.
They should follow the league.
No, they have their own authority.
I think they did follow, and I guess what I'm saying is I feel they did follow the league. When the league says of every instance of, let's just call it this century, of malfeasance by a team or a coach, we find this coach the most. From the team, we took the biggest pick we have taken from anyone. The league said whether they should have or not, the league adjudicated this a felony. And then the Hall of Fame is waiting and is going to adjudicate it on their own as well. To me, my read on it is they did the same thing.
So this would be my final statement where we can kick it around. If that's the case and you have a strong, principled stance against taping the sidelines, which to my knowledge was not a Belichick original, then come out and say, I voted against Belichick. Bill Polian walked away.
I'm with you with that.
Polian is
a weasel. Vote for him.
Polian's a weasel.
I voted against Belichick.
Polian didn't vote for him. I agree with that. You should admit I didn't vote for him because of the cheating scandal. And I will vote for him next year, but this year,
but someone's got to do it. If it's that principle,
I agree. That part, I totally. And Jimmy Johnson said today, everyone's going to claim they voted for him, and they're, obviously, he thinks a lot of them were lying to him about whether did or did not vote for him. I have not been. I think there's a lot of things that still to this day cause consternation amongst football fans. That if you're like, where did this start? And it's like, Bill Polian did that too. So I'm not a fan of. So I am not on those guys' side. I'm not, and I do agree that it would be useful if somebody said, hey, I don't know who the other 10 were, but I'm one of the 11, and here's why.
It might be 25.
Right, it could be.
We don't know.
It could be a lot.
Yeah.
For the record, and Colin Cowherd brought this up on his show, The Herd, Vince Lombardi and Bill Parcells and maybe several other coaches, I think he mentioned Bill Walsh, are not first ballot.
Well, they
Hall
also
of Fame.
changed how it worked because they used to have to compete with the players.
Okay.
But so they were in the mix.
But still,
with the players.
all those guys, Joe Gibbs too, you would be like, they're in automatic.
So one final, this will be actually the final thing, because where we get to Giannis asking out. Mike Sando wrote, I would see this ruling against Belichick as a repudiation.
Repudiation?
Don't correct me.
He's doing you a favor.
I would see this as a repudiation. You do that privately.
Sorry,
we'll retape it. Sorry. I would see this as a repudiation of the new voting rules implemented for 2025, not
I agree with
of Belichick or any candidate not making it. So we might just be arguing into the wind if it's like a protest.
Well, but so I disagree with Sando in this regard. If there wasn't something else there of the 5 people eligible, he was the easiest one to get the vote for. Him,
he's automatic.
Kraft, and the 3 you mentioned, L.C. Greenwood,
Ken Anderson, Roger Craig.
Right, those so that I think Sando's great at what he does. I disagree with his analysis.
If for any other reason, he's automatic.
Okay, all right, we're going to get to Giannis right now. News out of Milwaukee. Giannis ready to go. Sean's reporting that the Bucks are ready to listen to offers that would end Giannis's 13-year tenure in Milwaukee. Currently nursing that injured calf, 4 to 6 weeks that he's self-diagnosed, but I bought it. Brew, your reaction.
Well, just a complete mishandling by both the Bucks and Giannis. All right, so if I'm the Bucks at this point, I'm not saying I wouldn't trade him before the deadline, but my preference, unless I get a great deal, would be to trade him this summer. I think they'll get more for him this summer. He's hurt. All right, and there's no determination of when he will be back. He said 4 to 6 weeks. The reports are officially it's no time for him to come back. We don't know when he's coming back. I used to be on Houston should trade Şengün for him. San Antonio should even go for him. I no longer think those teams should make a move. All right, San Antonio, I definitely wouldn't break up my young core for Giannis. He is in his 13th year, and he's missed 30 games the last 2 years. It's going to be more than 30. We're only halfway through this season. So, and then if I'm Houston, I would play out this season, see how it goes, and then maybe in the summer, if we don't win the championship or get to the finals, in the summer I would look at doing it. But right now, with him being hurt, and then the adjustment period, Giannis is such a great player. It's not like dumping in a role player or a Kevin Durant who just shoots. So I think it would be they should stand pat. The two teams, and I guess you can throw in Atlanta, Nick, if you want. The two teams I definitely think should go for him are the Knicks, because it's not, I know they've won 3 straight, but it's not going well there. If you can get him for Cat and something else, do it. Or Golden State. Draymond, Kuminga, whatever, I guess if they would take Butler, but I don't think you need Draymond and Giannis. So I would try to do it if I'm one of those two teams. But outside of that, I think it's kind of a little too late.
So I disagree with you that they would get more this summer than right now, because right now there's the possibility you get Giannis for this playoff run, and this summer there's anything you would get by trading for him this summer, you would also get by trading for him now with maybe something additional.
To do it this year.
I made 3 trades.
Love it.
That I can't make a Knicks trade work. I blame the second apron and CBA and the fact that the Knicks have no good picks, and so they would have to get a third team involved. I didn't want it. The Knicks cannot come up with the best offer. It would have to be Giannis says, send me to the Knicks, and Milwaukee acquiesces. I feel very similar about Golden State. Golden State can't make the best offer. So I came up with 3 what I think are fair offers.
Bucks-centric
offers. Bucks and Giannis, I think, could compete. So the first one is Atlanta, because you stay in the East, you give up Kristaps, former #1 pick, overall pick, Risa Shea, and this is what's interesting about Atlanta for Milwaukee. Atlanta has the worst of the Pelicans or Milwaukee's pick in 2026. Atlanta has that. They can send that back to Milwaukee. And Atlanta has Milwaukee's first-round pick next year, so if you trade Giannis and you think you're going to tank, you'd like to have your own picks. So that is something where Milwaukee's like, at least we get our own pick back next year, the New Orleans pick, which might be #1 overall, and an interesting young piece in research.
How many, when we saw like Miles get traded for like 5 picks, is there a limit to how many first-round picks? A lot of those were second-round picks. So the thing is this. In the NBA, you can trade unlimited of other people's first-round picks if you have them. For your own, you can only trade every other year, and then you can do swaps. Gotcha.
So that's the Atlanta offer. Here's the Houston offer, because, and this, Brew, I think you would have to think about, because you would keep all your young guys except for Şengün. Van Vliet's out for the year, and those are 2, in my opinion, excellent picks you'd be sending. The Brooklyn first a year from now, and the Phoenix first a year from now. And the feeling being Houston does have Kevin Durant, which means there is something of a win now. And then the most interesting one, go ahead.
It probably doesn't work financially. I was going to say, if I'm Milwaukee, I'd rather Reed Shepherd than Van Vliet.
Well, right. Financially, the Van Vliet thing's important.
Right.
And then, what if I could create a Spurs trade where you don't break up the young core? Vassell and Harrison Barnes, plus these 5 first-round picks, none of which are Spurs picks. Because Spurs picks probably not going to be good. They have Wemby and Giannis, these young guards. The Bulls' first-rounder this year, Atlanta's first-rounder a year from now, Boston's first-rounder 2 years from now, Dallas's 5 years from now, and then, truly, the manna from heaven in the NBA, Kings unprotected first-round picks. Those things have been in the top 10 my whole life. And then the Spurs keep everybody.
I'm the Spurs.
The Spurs keep everybody.
I would definitely do that.
I'm going to show you one other thing before we move on. If they wait for the summer. If you wait for the summer, I wonder if OKC doesn't repeat. And if this graphic continues apace. If Jalen Williams becomes available. Because the last 2 years, the Oklahoma City Thunder with Jalen Williams are awesome. And without Jalen Williams are the greatest team in NBA history. And I can't figure that out.
No.
But they have a ton of picks. And if they fall short this year.
With the pick.
Because it wouldn't work for them right now because he still's on a rookie salary. But his max deal kicks in this summer. And
he could get to be a number one guy, almost like a Brunson story.
But I think he's very good, but I don't think he's a number one guy. But with all those picks.
Right, another piece, because they have so many pieces, and picks would be interesting.
I like that Spurs. I mean, if the Spurs could get him for that, then shoot.
Oh, my. Drake Maye hasn't been throwing the ball.
I paid a lot of those lately.
You paid $50 to Ian. Drake Maye hasn't been throwing the ball at an MVP level these playoffs. Maybe it's the defense. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's a sore arm. Something or nothing, bro.
Well, I think it's something in that it could explain why he's been a little subpar by his standards in these playoffs. And it could potentially slow him down in the game, the Super Bowl. I think it's nothing in that nobody cares. If you're out there playing, which he's obviously going to be, nobody cares if your shoulder's bothering you or not. We're going to judge you on your performance. So that's a quick answer to it.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely nothing as it pertains to nobody cares, but this is something. And it's something because he's been sacked 15 times in the three playoff games that he's been in. He's rushed the ball 24 times in the 3 playoff games, and I'm assuming he's going to have some runs in the Super Bowl, and he's probably going to hit the ground once or twice being sacked. So when you look at that, if you are the Seattle Seahawks and you're that defense and you know that you can get pressure, you can get home, you're going to try to test that theory of how well is Drake Maye. Now, I don't think it has something to do with, I don't think it will impact him in terms of his ability to throw the football. I don't think it's that drastic. I don't think that's why he's been not what we've seen in the regular season. But it is something. I know to Vrabel's point, everybody has some type of injury at this stage in their game. However, when it's your quarterback, it's the reason that you had such a great regular season, one of the main reasons why you're here, it is definitely something and something to be mindful of.
You want to go, Kate?
Look, I was optimistic because watching the games, the throws have been unlike throws that I've seen in the regular season. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's because it's snowy and wet, and maybe it's because his clock is like sped up a little bit, and we have the numbers here. The Chargers game, he didn't say that was necessarily the issue, and he had some beautiful passes in the Texans game, obviously, to Boutic. But everything is down, right? The thing that hit my radar, Nick, was him talking like he was a baseball pitcher going deep into the playoffs. Like, man, I've been throwing this ball for a long time, and did he just throw too much? Like, we never really talk about that except with older quarterbacks, but he's like, yeah, it's been 30 weeks of throwing the ball.
He had a ton of attempts in the regular season. Was he number one?
I don't know.
I don't think was he number one, John? No.
Okay.
No, I don't think he was number one.
So,
but he played all the games.
I know that our pal Dr. David Chow and some of the other internet sleuths thought they saw a play in the AFC Championship game where he hurt his shoulder. If that happened, then that's one thing. This report, if I may speak on behalf of Coach Mangini for a moment, if this report is true, the Patriots should be in trouble. He has not been listed on the injury report once all year. They listed 13 guys before the AFC Championship game. He wasn't one of them. They listed 9 prior to the divisional round. He wasn't one of them. So this report that he had a shoulder problem before the game is either wrong or the Patriots are not listing their injuries, which again. I'm sorry?
The Patriots?
I know. I wasn't going to. It was an odd day to bring that up.
Not the Patriots.
I feel like Vrabel's like, I can't list everybody. Nobody's 100%.
Yeah, no, I get it. But again, if you were like power ranking, like, man, we have these injury reports. who are they? To inform the public.
Exactly.
If there's 14 guys and we are only going to list 13. Is the throwing shoulder of the starting quarterback one of our 13 most relevant injuries? I don't know. And so I did not look at Drake Maye in either of the 2 previous games and said, that's an injured player.
Yeah.
None of us did. I looked at him and said, oh, that looks like a young quarterback in his first playoff games, like I thought might happen, much to your dismay. And to your point, late in the Texans game, he had as good of a throw as he's had in any game. You could have, that throw to Boudet could have been from any game all year, like peak Drake Maye performance. And so it obviously is something if the starting quarterback's shoulder is hurt.
Yes.
But Sam, and this is why I bring up the injury report thing. You think the Seahawks wanted to just tell everyone a day before their first playoff game, Darnold's oblique?
Right.
They did it because you have to.
Yeah, and then he didn't do much.
He didn't have to. He didn't need to.
I wonder if he needed to, could he have?
Right, could he
let
have?
it up?
And so, like, the injury report rules are there for a reason. And so I don't know what to take of this report. But the report is saying the Patriots didn't disclose an injury to their starting quarterback, which Coach Mangini would tell you he got fined $50,000 for, even though Favre never missed a game. He's still not over it. Somebody started GoFundMe for that money for Coach Mangini. He's still not over it. He's still upset.
He does always bring
He brings it up all the time.
We're going to stay in Denver. Sean Payton told the world that Jarrett Stidham was good enough to lead the Broncos to the Super Bowl. Came up short. Broncos fired OC Joe Lombardi. Here's the weird part. Sean Payton called all the plays. Jeff Legwold writing, Payton has consistently said he will not surrender play calling duties. So unless he has a major change of heart in that regard, the Broncos OC will be a prominent voice in the weekly planning, as well as in Payton's ear on game day. But Payton will still call the plays. Greg, were you surprised by this move?
Yeah, I'm surprised for what you just pointed out. Like Sean Payton, we all know Sean Payton is the head coach, but we most certainly know he's on the sideline calling the plays. And so for him to say, it was due to the lack of production and productivity of our offense, I mean, it's kind of a shot at yourself that you're not willing to really just say. However, digging a little deeper into their coaching staff, they have Davis Webb on their coaching staff, quarterbacks coach, who is being sought after for a lot of different teams. Your Raiders being one of them. And they want to retain them. And so if you have a player or a coach on your roster like that you feel like, man, somebody might pluck them away, and you have an opportunity to move on from a coach who you have a relationship with and has been with you 3 different occasions, then you choose that. And so I think that's one of the reasons why they moved on from
Joe Lombardi.
Joe Lombardi.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, if you're moving Davis Webb up, so to speak, then that's fine. Outside of that, it feels like they're scapegoating him, or Sean Payton scapegoating him, because like you said, he's not calling the plays. And they've been mediocre. We know offense was kind of their weak link, right? But they were 14th, I think, in scoring this year, 10th last year. But when you look at their skilled players, they got solid but not great skilled position players. And Bo Nix is a young quarterback who's developing still. So the production, while it hasn't been great, has been pretty good for the talent they have on that side of the ball. So Davis Webb, that makes a lot of sense. You want to keep him in the building. But outside of that, it just feels like they're putting the blame on him when it could go to Payton.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like if we had a bunch of bad shows in a row, or not even a bunch, just one bad show, and Wilds fired Dusty. Like, you're the one deciding the rundown, buddy. Like, Dusty's the producer, but you're in there. You're
Dusty
in there.
just fainted.
You're in there just yelling at Dusty like, this is how we're supposed to do it. Like, if we're doing the topics wrong, it's your fault, not Dusty's. And so, like, that.
It's Dusty's fault. That's Dusty's fault.
It'd be
if we have a bad show, it's Dusty's fault.
Okay. But here's the thing about Davis Webb, or about this vacant job. Davis Webb doesn't want that job. This is not a good job. Your offensive coordinator. This is not about Bo Nix. I promise.
I know.
Just get
offensive coordinator without being a play caller is not
what do you do?
marquee
But some
job.
of the guys with the Chiefs have been able to move on in that case.
Absolutely.
So you get the title if it's a successful team.
Nagy's like the only one, guys. Like it's
an odd interview. So do you call the plays? No, but I support.
And so, if I'm Davis Webb and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm interviewing for head coaching jobs, and then there's other teams that want me to be their play calling OC, like OC. No, so maybe he stays because he's familiar there. But if he doesn't, Like, no marquee I do not think this is a job people that think I'm on the head coaching track are going to want to get. Like, Broncos OC is very different.
But he would be if, let's say, he becomes their OC next year and they have the same type of season this year. He's going to be in the head coaching.
No, for Davis Webb, maybe. What I'm saying is, if this job is posted, if this job's open, this to me is one of the less attractive offensive coordinating jobs because you don't get to do the thing where you make your name as an offensive coordinator, calling the plays.
Yeah, we thought the Eagles' job was a little bit less desirable just because Sirianni occasionally pops in. Never mind calls all the plays.
Again, there is stability with this job, though.
Yep.
And that carries some weight.
Yes.
And so if you're Davis Webb, obviously you have...
when they fire the guy after they make the AFC title game and they lose because they have a backup quarterback, it doesn't feel like there's quite as much stability.
Yeah, but you just get the sense of, in being in the locker room and understanding how it works, a coach that has been paired with a young quarterback, you are more hesitant to just dismiss and get rid of him than somebody who's just kind of overarching, just holding the title and not in the unit meetings, not in the quarterback meetings every day, not on the field working with him every day, not really in his ear every single day. Not to say that Joe Lombardi wasn't, but definitely not as much as Davis Webb.
That's good. He hit us with the knowing how the locker room works. Damn. When he drops that one, it's like, oof. Like, knowing how it works, let me tell you what's up.
Brew knows.
Brew knows, yeah, exactly.
So this is receiver banter.
Yeah.
Brew knows.
I got it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.